gathering. This international e-conference could be possible because of strong support and blessing from our President, Honorable Shri Vijay Jadhav sir, Executive President, Honorable B.D. Kale sir, and our Principal Sir, all institution colleagues, and my dear students. This conferences actually came into existence because of Dr. Pramod Salaskar, who makes possible to call most eminent resource persons across the world, like WAHP Gurge sir from Sri Lanka, Dr. Shailendra Pokhrel sir from Nepal, Hemant Karkhani sir, Dr. Prasad Karnik sir from India. As we all know, which is printed on the brochure, this conference is a focus on wetland. Actually, 2nd February is the World Wetland Day. But the situation is so alarming that scientists, concerned peoples, and end beneficiaries need to pay attention every day. Therefore, we have decided to attract the public mind to this motto that is wetlands are not wastelands but are bestlands. To achieve this objective, one needs to understand what is it actually, and thereby we kept the theme of this conference is wetland introduction, component, significance and threats. This conference is organized in coordination with Naushad Samvardhini Samiti. I am confident we will definitely achieve our objective subject to continuous efforts and awareness across the world. Across the world, scientists, educationalists, public domain too. Once again, I welcome all of you, teachers, students, resource persons, scientists who have participated in this conference. And I am very much thankful all of you have given this opportunity to put my few words in front of you. Thank you. Over to Anchor.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for making us aware about the concept of wetlands. Moving on to the next part of our e-conference, we have with us an eminent personality from Naushad Sarvoar Samvardhini with us today, Dr. Pramod Salaskar sir. I request him to give us a brief idea on the activities of NAS. Over to you, sir. Over to Pramod Salaskar sir, please.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible, sir.
Yes, madam.
You open video from your side, sir.
Yes, sir. I open already. Madam, this video?
Nice.
Hello.
No, your video is not on. Only voice can be possible to hear.
Oh, again I will say. Sorry. इससे ओपन का वक्त नहीं है.
Madam, काय साहेब join झाले.
Welcome, sir. Our executive president have joined, Shri B.D. Kale sir. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. मॅडम दिसते आता?
नाही दिसत, sir.
नाही दिसत आहे.
सर क्वेश्चन
मॅडम आम्ही शेअर करतोय.
तुम्ही नंतर करा.
जस्ट 1 मिनिट. चल नंतर शेअर होते.
Sorry to interrupt. I request all the participants to mute their mics, please.
Madam, this is okay. Good morning. It is a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Kade sir, Principal Wak sirs, my colleagues Suvarna madam, Kakipuri sirs, and our special guest of honor, Dr. Gurge, Dr. Cherendra Pokhrel, Heman Karkanis, and Dr. Prasad Karkanis, protocol observer, and my colleagues. I feel highly honored to present to you now Naushad Sarvoar Samvardhini activities. You know that in Mumbai there are 69 lakes. Out of these 69 lakes, 21 lakes are very important size. 45 lakes are medium size, and 3 lakes, that is Tulsi, Vihar, and Pavi lakes are the larger lakes. Out of these 3 lakes, Tulsi, Vihar, and Pavi lakes, water of the Tulsi and Vihar are used for the drinking water purpose. But project of the Pavi Lake was discarded and leased out to the Bombay President Angling Associations. This is 80 years back Angling Association photos. This is proprietor of the Pavi Lake. Here, dam number 1 is here, dam number 2 is here, small size. Yeah. Okay, this is a 50 years back photo of the Pavi Lakes. Okay. Pavi Lake is an important ecological landmark on the map of megacity Mumbai, the financial capital of India. It is a lung space and recreational center for the population of the megacity. You know, there are some problems and issues of the in the Pavi Lake basins: encroachment, pollution from untreated sewage, domestic sewage, and entering into the lakes, siltations, eutrophications, breeding of vectors, loss to biodiversity and lake-dependent community. The more than 130-year-old Pavi Lake represents a typical case of environmental degradation due to urbanization. The land in the catchment area was converted into non-agricultural land, and number of the colonies have come up on it in the last 20 years. And their domestic sewage are directly enter into these lakes. The Ganpati immersions, there are more than 10,000 Ganpati immersed in the Pavi Lake at the Pavi Lakes. We regular monitoring of the Pavi Lakes at different stations. Ecological status of the Pavi Lakes are there are some weeds of the Pavi Lakes. Phytoplanktons of the Pavi Lakes is 2 planktons. There are more than 11 species now, native species found in the Pavi Lakes. This is the Katla. See, this is the silver species here only, and this is the albino albino silver fish. Gorame, Tilapia mosambica. We observe more than 45 aquatic birds at the Pavi Lakes. The Crocodilus paristri, that is the freshwater crocodiles, and this is a chickle back snake series. Okay, India developed national water policy in 1986. It developed into 2 streams. In the first stream, a series of environmental registration, and second stream, the social participations. That is the Lake Conservation Society of Sarvoar Samvardhini. Sarvoar Samvardhini is a Sanskrit word. Sarvoar means the lake, and Samvardhini means the conservation society. This concept is conceived and advocated by renowned international water expert Dr. Madhav Chitale. Objective of the Sarvoar Samvardhini are the concept of establishing Sarvoar Samvardhini is not only management of the present status of the lake, but also involvement in protecting conservation and reservations of or loss or highly polluted lakes. To create awareness about the importance of lake waters, continuous monitoring of water quality. Sarvoar Samvardhini should regularly organize small workshop, conference, and seminar in the regional language. Sarvoar Samvardhini also publish day-to-day status of the lakes. Sarvoar Samvardhini should have minimum laboratory facilities. Establishment of the Lake Conservation Society. There are many non-government organizations are actively involved in the various environmental issues and protection and conservation reports, as well as creating awareness among the public. However, Naushad Sarvoar Samvardhini is the only NGO dedicated to the lake issues and more importantly to Lake Powai Lake. Its existence is unique and essential. Naushad and Sarva Samvardhini as a place central role to connect people, environmental NGOs, local governments and residents to organize activities around the Powai Lakes. Naushad and Sarva Samvardhini was inaugurated by late Dr. M.S. Kodolkar, an international expert on lake management and former secretary Indian Association of Aquatic Biologists. See, this is the lake, and this entire logo is the shape of the water drop. The symbolism of this drop is the species. This is a fish. The fish is a symbol. Sorry. This is a symbol of healthy life in water, and quality of water will allow all of us to grow and sustain ourselves on the earth. These daughters are the galaxies. Powai Conservation Society as a name after the respected late Padma Bhushan Sri Naushad Ali, an internationally known music director and composer and president of former president of Maharashtra State English Association. He actively supported establishment of an environmental body for conservation of Powai Lake. The first ever meeting of Sarvoar Samvardhini and integrated lake basin management was held on Powai Lake on 6 September 2007. In integrated basin management, there are 6 pillars, institute like the B.N.N college, government policies, people participation, public participation, technology, information about the water bodies and finance. All these 6 pillars are very much important for the effective management and conservation of urban lakes or any water bodies. Dr. M.S. Kodolkar field station was inaugurated by Dr. Walter Ras. A field station dedicated to one memory of late Dr. M.S. Kodolkar, who was established on 8 September 2012. That time we also organized the international conference. Later, Dr. M.S. Kodolkar field station laboratory was inaugurated by Sri Johnny Joseph, former Chief Secretary, Government of Maharashtra and Municipal Commission of Mumbai. Naushad and Sarvoar Samvardhini has 2 publications, 2 manuscripts. That is the role of Sarvoar Samvardhini in conservation and comprehensive management of lake in India. Sarvoar Samvardhini, Powai Lake, Mumbai, and he also promoted newsletter regularly. Sarvoar Samvardhini. The first manuscript, that is role of Sarvoar Samvardhini in conservation and comprehensive management of lakes in India, is released by Dr. Madhav Chitre. The Sarvoar Samvardhini newsletter was released by Dr. Walter Ras, Director of the Environmental Department, Texas University, USA, and Dr. Nakamura, President, ILEC, Japan. Second Sarvoar Samvardhini newsletter is released by Dr. Nakamura, Japan, at MOF meeting, Delhi. Then field station provided facilities for field work to students, researchers, NGOs, citizens interested in the environmental issues of the Powai Lake, apart from sharing literature on the environmental aspects of lake and their conservation. Naushad and Sarvoar Samvardhini is the platform for all the stakeholders, including neighborhood communities, for discussing the issues of sustainable management of Powai Lake ecosystem. NAS organized training program, awareness campaign, field station demonstrations, and other activities. We are regularly organizing some training program for the MSc students and college students. Ultimately, the lake health report can publish in local language for better understanding of the lake dependent community, policymakers, and stakeholders. And this is the Powai Lake road. This is necklace road of the Powai Lake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us a brief idea on different activities of NAS. Thank you very much. Now we have an evergreen personality and father figure with us today, our Honorable Executive President, Shri B.D. Kaya, sir. I request him to speak a few words on this occasion. Over to you, sir.
माईक अनम्यूट करा सर तुमचा. माईक अनम्यूट करा. माईकचा आयकॉन येतोय ना, त्याच्यावरती क्लिक करा. तुमच्या स्क्रीनवरती माईकचा आयकॉन येतोय बघा सर. त्याच्यावर क्रॉस लाईन असेल त्याच्यावर क्लिक केलं ना की मग ती जाते क्रॉस लाईन.
Hello.
हा येतोय. ठीक ठीक सर. ओके.
Hello.
हा येतोय सर ऐकायला आता तुमचा आवाज. हो.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Padmasri Annasaheb Jadhav Bharatiya Samaj Unnati Mandal, Bhiwandi, Maharashtra, India, I welcome all dignitaries, resource persons, and participants. B.N.N College Department of Zoology, in association with Naushad Ali Sarvoar Samvardhini Samiti, organized this international conference on the wetland and its concern issues and importance. I believe this conference definitely creates awareness among the research persons, students, even general public. I appreciate the efforts taken by Zoology Department, and I also appreciate Naushad Ali Sarvoar Samvardhini Committee for joining in this program. Give my blessings and best wishes to all you. Thank you.
Thank you sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your auspicious presence and blessings. Thanks a lot for your valuable guidance.
Thank you.
Okay, now let us begin with our main session of today's International E-Conference. I request my colleague Dr. Tejali Aire to introduce our speakers for today's function. Over to Dr. Tejali Aire.
Thank you, Dr. Trupti. Today we have speakers from across the world from various countries. Our first speaker is Dr. W.A.H.P. Guruge. He is working as a senior lecturer since 2005, April 2005, in the Department of Zoology, Faculty of Science, University of Roorkee, Matara, Sri Lanka. Talking about his education, he has done his PhD in fishery biology, and his specialization in MSc is environmental risk assessment. Dr. Guruge has got a broad research contribution. He has published his papers in various index journals. He has his 8 full-length papers in index journal. Again, he has presented his articles in 15 international conferences and symposia. And apart from this, he has presented his 50 abstracts. He has published his abstract in the international proceedings also. So I welcome you, Dr. Guruge, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. You're audible, sir.
So what are you going to do? You are going to play my already I sent my recorded video. Or?
Yeah, I'll share, sir. I'll share. Just a minute.
Okay.
Share this then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. From this slide you are starting, na sir?
Yeah, it's already recorded. I think I don't need to talk anything.
Yeah.
You play it.
त्यानंतर बटन कर लास्ट आपण वगैरे चालेल त्याचा आवाज कमी नाही ते कसं आहे सर इथे असं प्रेस करावं हां गुरगी श्रीलंका आवाज कमी किती झाले 100 झाले का
What about sound? Sound is not coming, no?
Yeah.
Some technical problem.
अम्मा
Yeah.
सर हो यूट्यूबवर पाठवू का
देतो मला. केलं ना. त्यांना दिसते ना. त्यांच्या ह्याला आयकॉनला कर ना. हा तिथं क्लिक कर ना. हा.
Sound is not coming. I think what I can do, I can present it again. Or
Yeah, sir. What happened? This video itself has a very low sound, voice.
मी इकडे पण बोलू शकतो पण डबल आवाज
so if you allowed me, I will do it again from beginning from here.
Shall I start from beginning?
No. Yeah, try to beginning. If not working, I will do it again. I will repeat it again. But give me a permission to share the screen.
Yeah. You can share, sir. No doubt.
So I am not familiar with this platform. Where I can share, where is the icon for the sharing? Hello.
Yeah, sir.
Where
You
is
can
the
share
icon?
from your end, na sir.
So yeah, what is the?
That arrow is seen on your screen. If you seen the arrow on your screen,
Yeah.
click on that.
So you have to exit from your screen, no?
Yeah. I have exited. I already stopped the screen sharing.
So Guruji, go on the three dots. Click on the three dots. There is
Yeah.
share screen. Yeah. There must be share screen.
No, sir. Arrow is shown for share screen.
Okay. On my this thing there is three dots share screen. Okay.
So I click the arrow, then your entire screen, no?
Yeah.
Then share now, but I can't see my presentation there. I put it in the.
Shall I share and you will speak on that because
Okay.
then I'll share. Shall I share?
Yeah.
Is it seen?
Yeah, right.
This screen this na?
Put
Yes,
it full screen and play it.
Now you can go and speak, sir. I'll just yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so good morning to all of you. And first of all, I would like to give my sincere thanks, and I will appreciate asking me to do this lecture, Mr. Dr. Salaska sir, and all the other dignitaries who are joining
Now
to
it's
us
audible?
joining today in this very good webinar about the wetland structure, uses, and their threats. Can you play it in the full play it in a PowerPoint play mode?
No, it's since it is a video. Yeah. I can do.
Yeah. So first of all, what is the wetland? So wetlands, it is according to Ramsar Convention, it defines as a these are the ecosystem type of ecosystem, either marsh, fen, peat, land, or water. They may be either natural or temporary. Sometimes they may be static, that means it's not flowing, and sometimes it's flowing like rivers and streams, and fresh, brackish, or silt, and including area of marine water. The main thing is the depth of which at a low tide does not exceed 6 meters. So this is the definition from the Ramsar Conventions. And also there's in the definition that it is a transition zone between the upland and the permanently flooded ecosystem. There's this in the definition. Let's see what are the diagnostic characteristics or components in the wetland. Okay. Mainly it consists of these three compartments. What are these compartments? Vegetation, soil, and hydrology. And regarding the vegetation, we call that vegetation is hydrophytic. That means most of the time it is inundated in the water, in a prolonged inundation or soil saturation, because it is submerging the water. So these plants are tolerant to this prolonged inundation or soil saturation. This is maintaining the vegetation. And where in the soil, it is hydric soil, developed under permanent or periodic soil saturation. In hydric soil, their color is normally dark in color, normally it's black color. You can see in this slide, these photos, it is black color. If we take the soil from out of the wetland, normally it is dark in color, not like a terrestrial other ecosystem. Let's see how it develops, this hydric soil. First is inundation or soil saturation. That in that wetland is soil inundation or soil saturation. And then when it is covered with the water, there is not contact with the atmosphere, so therefore there is an anaerobic condition in the soil with less amount of oxygen. Because of that, there is some chemical reduction, like and like ferrous, manganese, sulfur. They convert into different form. For example, sulfite is converted into hydrogen sulfide with a very bad smell, without presence of the oxygen. There's no oxygen. There are some chemical reduction. Because of that, this chemical reduction, the soil get that dark color. That is we call distinctive soil characteristic governed by this chemical reduction. And wetland hydrology, that is the thing referred to as water that makes wetland wet. How it make a wetland wet. In this water budget, there's some precipitation and evaporation, surface inflow, and groundwater discharge, groundwater outflow. Because of the these two, evaporation and groundwater outflow, water is losing, but because of the precipitation and the surface runoff, water is going. And also we can consider wetland as a dynamic system. So here we have a three hydrology. It comes to the water,
flow rate, frequency of the water, and that modifies and determines the physiochemical parameter, physiochemical environment, that is sediment type, soil chemistry, water chemistry, etc. And also there's some oxidized reaction, thus allowing the specific biota, vegetation type, animals and marshes. All of these hydrology, physiochemical environment and biota, these are modified by these climate and the basin geomorphology. These three factors modified by the climate, basin and the geomorphology. And also physiochemical environment, it is modifies the hydrology, and also the biota also turns modified hydrology and the physiochemistry in the wetland system. This is what we call the dynamic system. Here, change or alteration of any of one of these components, that is hydrology, physiochemical parameters, biota, this can change the system. So let's see how we classify the wetland. There are basically three types. First one we call a marine or coastal wetland. Then we have inland wetlands. And then we have a human-made, man-made or anthropogenic wetlands. So, for example, aquaculture is a human-made wetland. And inland wetlands are the rivers and the streams. And marine coastal, regarding the marine coastal wetlands, there are some permanent shallow marine waters and also marine subtidal catalytic beds. These are classified up to K. K is the coastal freshwater lagoon. And then we have inland wetlands. Starting from the L, L is the permanent inland deltas. Then permanent rivers, streams, creeks, and they are going up to the K, B, that is a karst and other subterranean hydrological system. And finally, we have human-made wetlands, that's the aquaculture, ponds, including the farm ponds, stock ponds, and like that there are 8 types: irrigated lands, including the irrigation canals and rice fields. This is go up to 9 types. So let's see what are the ecosystem services of the wetland, what they provided. These are the summary. We can get the recreation, there's nutrient regulations, and disturbance, and cultural values, aesthetic value, and water supply, food production, habitat diversity. So these are some of the ecosystem services. Actually, we can divide these ecosystem services into 4 compartments: regulating services, supporting, cultural, and provisional. So regarding the provisional services provided by the wetlands, basically it provides some benefits, material benefits people get from the wetland. For example, it gives a supply of the food, that is production of fish, wild game, fruit, and the grains. And fresh water, it provides the fresh water, wash, storage and the retention of water for domestic, industrial and agricultural use. And fibers and fuel, that is for the production of logs, fuel, wood, peat and fodder. Basically from the mangrove ecosystem we can get this fuel wood and fodder and some logs. So these are some figures regarding these things. And also it provides some biochemical or medicines. This we can extract of medicine and other materials from the biota out of the wetland that provide the medical facilities. And regarding the regulatory services, that is a benefit obtained from the regulation of the ecosystem processes. For example, climate regulation. Activities is also source and sink for the greenhouse gases. Climate regulation basically. In addition to climate regulation, it influences local and regional temperature, precipitation, and other climatic processes. And water regulation, that is the hydrological flows, groundwater recharge, discharge. Actually, wetland we can consider the sponge. That means when there's a drought condition, it discharges the water, like when we squeeze the sponge. And when there's a full amount of water, flooding condition, it recharges the groundwater. Therefore, the wetland reacts as a sponge. When there's no water, it releases. When there's plenty of water, it absorbs. and also there's some water purification and the waste treatment, and retention, recovery, and removal of excess nutrients and other pollutants from here from wetland ecosystems. So this figure explain you how these work in biological, physical, and chemical reaction. From there, it treat the water, then we get the purified water from the constructed wetlands and other wetland types. So here, vegetation in the wetland, it slows water velocity. That causes sediment to drop out of the water column on the wetland. The vegetation present in the wetland system, it reduces the velocity, slow down the velocity, and there's allowing the sediment to drop out, sedimentation, and there's high rate of primary productivity that lead to the high rates of nutrient uptake. And finally, the nutrient used by the growing wetlands plants, they are not able to support the development of vegetation. And also there's some erosion regulation, because there's some plant material around the wetland, so they can reduce the wave energy and current velocity that prevent the shoreline erosion. For example, you can see here there's some pattern here. So these rattans, this vegetation, it break down the wave action. They are not allowed to come to the inland, so therefore it reduce, so break the shoreline erosion. And also roots and the rhizome of the wetland in the plant is to stabilize the substrate. And the stem and the leaves slow the flow of waves and the tidal current. So here, if you grow the plant, this plant here, it reduces the wave action. And also there's some natural hazard regulation by the wetlands. For example, flood protection. Because when there's a wetland, it can reduce the flooding by intercepting the storm runoff and the storing out. You can see this is the surface runoff. When surface runoff is high, the wetland temporarily store the water and then release to the stream. That is in the high surface runoff, and then it discharge the water to the stream. So this is the storage of the flood water. It reduces the sharpness of the peak water flow. This one. Sharpness of the peak water flow, and it reduces these two things, and also the discharge from the wetland system. It allows to store the discharge of the water over the longer period of the time. And also it provides the cultural services, that is spiritual and the inspirational, recreational services. Around the world there are many wetlands. Those are considered as the scared significant. For example, in your country, India, there's a Triveni Sangam wetland river, and also there's some Yamuna Kangas and other invisible and spiritual Saraswati river. Yes, these are the scared places for the Hindus. This is what we call the cultural services. For example, we have a Kumbh Mela, and there are some functions associated with the rivers and the stream. So those are the wetlands, so they give the cultural value. In Asia and Sri Lanka, we also have some cultural habits there, what we call the Diakapimo water cutting. That is after the Kandi Asal Perahara, Kandi Asal procession. After end of the 5 days big Perahara, big procession, at the end of the day, they do the water cutting. They select some river there, go there and they cut the water. We call it the Diakapimo, the water cutting. So these are the cultural services provided by the wetland. And recreational, you can see in this picture, we go to the wetlands and we go to see the birds there, and we are hiking there. We use the boating, we use the boat, and also it provides some aesthetic value. When people find beauty of the aesthetic value aspect of the wetland ecosystem, and also some educational. They provide some documentary out of that. And you see that then we move to the users, function, and the attributes get from the wetlands. So the benefits that gain from the wetland we can categorize as 3 categories: users, function, and attributes. So users mean benefits that are gained by people throughout direct uses of the wetland. And functions are benefit that stem from the characteristic of the wetland that support or protect the human activity without being used directly, and also attributes. So these are the benefits that are valued by the group in the society, but which do not provide direct economic benefits. So uses, these are uses, sources of natural products: peat, timber, flowers, so forages, offering, lotus flower, and some vegetables, grass, foliage stock, fruit, and many other more. And water supply and the transport also uses, energy production, here hydroelectricity, firewood, and research and the education, recreation and the tourism. And research and education, you can see in the last few years how the research publication in the SCI indexes, journals, how it increased the number of research papers in the last few years. And functions, there's a water flow regulation, prevention of saline water intrusion. So it provides these facilities and protection against the natural process and calamities, sediment removal and retention, removal and retention of the nutrient and toxic compound, and also the contribution to the maintenance of the processes in natural system. As attributes, what are the attributes? Biodiversity, uniqueness, and the gene pool, and social significance. So finally, let's see what are the major threats to the wetland ecosystem around the world. The primary indirect driver is the degradation of the loss of the rivers, wetland, is the increase of the population growth and increase in the economic development. Because these wetlands are drained for the agriculture and the construction activities. If we have no land for the settlement, they use this wetland for the construction activities and some other agricultural purposes. So we degraded the that pristine wetland. So there's one way where the threat. So other one is introduction of invasive species that can damage the wetland ecosystem. You can see in this picture, this whole wetland, it's invaded by the invasive species. In the next few years, this will lose the water and it can get the terrestrial system. And pollution is killing the flora and the fauna of the wetland. Pollution. And most of the people, they are considering the wetlands are the wasteland, but it is not the wasteland. It is a very pristine ecosystem. You can see how they are dumping the waste to the some wetland area. This is the situation in Sri Lanka. They are dumping these things and they are burning here. And finally, what we can see, huge amount of fish are died because of the low water quality. Sometimes there is an anorexic condition in this water. Then climate change is destroying the wetland habitat. Also construction of dams to alter the flow of the water to wetlands, construction of the dams. After that, it becomes the load ecosystem, become the lentic. Then all the situations, all the functions, all the mechanisms are changing after the dam in the system. So how do we decide the conservation practices? As I mentioned earlier, we have uses, attributes, and the functions. So attributes, these are the non-use values, preservation value. So we can give some codes for the here. Level 5, very high importance, so importance is not known. And level 4, high importance, level 2, importance, level 1, insignificant. So you can list down some attributes like a biological diversity, and you can give the for your wetland the value. If it is high biological diversity, you can shade the 5. It's a low scenic landscape, you can put the 1. So like that, you can give the values for the arbitrary value, subjective value for your wetland. Starting from the 1 to 5. 1 is insignificant, 5 is very high importance. Next one, function, indirect use values also, some water fronted regulation, water quality regulation, habitat for fish, habitat wildlife. So you can also give some values based on your wetland, either 1, 2 or 3 or 5. And finally, we have uses. So this is the direct use values. Also, these are the list of the uses. You can give values for your wetland depending on your system. And then you can calculate the conservation measures. Here, attributes, generic value 1 to 5, uses, general values 1 to 5. So here, if it is fall down in this cage, we have to do the conservation urgently. required, and management has to be adopted in this cage. If it is in this cage, 1, 2 and 1, 2, there's no measures required for the conservation. So likewise, you can consider whether you can calculate whether your wetland need to conserve or not. Finally, let's see how we do the conservation in a wetland. We can use the wise use of the wetland restoration and recreation, wildlife habitat management, and maintain the quantity and quality of the natural ecosystem. And also, finally, you think about your ecosystem. These are our treasures. So you have to conserve it with your mindfulness and keep those for future generation. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and again thank you for the inviting me, especially for the Dr. Salaskar sir and all other chairman of your society and your head of the principal sir and the head of the Department of Zoology. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurukul sir. Thank you for enlightening us about the wetlands and its ecosystem. We are very much privileged to have you on this conference. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Our second speaker is Shailendra Pokhrel. Shailendra Pokhrel sir is the founder president, Conservation Development Foundation from Nepal. He is natural resource manager, engaged in promotion of conservation development for the sustainable livelihoods through Conservation Development Foundation. Currently, he is focused on water-linked conservation development in Nepal. Over to you, sir. Pokhrel sir.
Namaskar. Let me show my face first to everyone. So
You are on the main screen, na sir? Yeah.
So some of you may recognize me because I had been to India for the cause of lake conservation in different beaches in different parts of India. And that was the opportunity that I met many lake scientists, wetland scientists in India. So I stopped showing my face, and can I load can you give me the access to PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah. I'll shall I share from this side?
No, I do myself.
Okay. Yeah, you have access, sir.
Okay.
Main screen lagi na.
No, it's not. So I go to window.
Yeah, that arrow is there, na?
Yeah, arrow
Arrow.
is
That.
Enter screen.
Entire screen. You click on the arrow, then you will get the boxes. Entire screen you click. Then
it's entire screen.
Then the blue icon. Click on the entire screen, and the blue icon will be there at the bottom.
It's not coming.
Share icon will be there at the right side.
It's not functional. Share icon is there, not functional.
शेवाळे सर त्यांना शेअरिंगला ऑप्शन द्या ना.
Share option is there, but it's not functional.
Is blue icon is not coming.
The blue icon is not coming.
Yeah, so on the screen, entire screen, you click it on that, then only it will be convert into the blue.
Okay. Then.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming. Again, it. Now you can click on your PPT.
Okay. Why this? It's not coming.
After share, when you click on the share, then you click on your PPT.
Okay. It's not coming. I minimize the screen.
No, it's not visible.
No.
Screen.
Oh, you run my slide from there.
Yeah, I can run from
I recently sent that one.
Yeah. It's visible, sir.
Yeah, go from the first slide.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, namaskar to everyone from Nepal. And I'm glad to see you all there. Thank you for the invite, for me inviting to this presentation. And I can talk about the wetland definitions and what are the components of this, what benefit it provides, what are the problems. First time. So go to the next first one. Summary. Yeah. So actually, Pramod Salaskar asked me to say something about Himalayan lakes. So while I talk about Himalayan lakes, you might be thinking that the lake somewhere in the Himalaya. Actually, it's not. So the context is different. I'll talk that later. And I see the wetlands of Nepal as the eastern of development. And from the view of, $15 trillion of economy that it globally provides. So the huge benefit dimension is there. But those dimensions, I am not talking here, but I'll gradually move how Himalayan lakes are here in Nepal and then enter to a case of Pokhara Valley. Many of you might know about the Pokhara, which is a very beautiful city, consists of 9 lakes. So this is the organization of my slides. I talk about water towers and gradually I end on the acknowledgement. Next slide. So it runs automatically, this slide one. So you all know that where Nepal is. It's between two Asian giants, India from 3 sides, you know that, and one is Tibet. Next one. Yeah. And the beauty of Nepal is in the north, which consists of the chain of East Himalaya. It's 3,000 kilometers long, even much in the inland dimension. And this section of Himalaya forms many peaks in Nepal, including the highest peak, the Mount Everest. Next one. Next slide. And this Himalayan chain is very distinguished and wonderful in view of Atlantic freshwater systems. Yeah, you can see. And this is regarded as the water tower of Himalaya. And the freshwater services from this area is home to the 1.5 billion populations, many livestock, many wildlife down to the downstream, mainly in India. Let's see. And this Himalayan chain, actually this Himalayan chain I'm talking because Mohan's Dr. Expert, Mohan Kodhakar was saying that it's a Himalayan chain, like a Himalayan necklace, you see. So this is the source of 4 big rivers in Nepal. Click. Koshi River Basin, Gandaki River Basin, Karnali River Basin, and Mahakal River Basin. This slide is different than what I sent recently, you see. So, go on. And many lakes are nested between these basins, 4 big basins. Next one. This is another slide, you see. Can we change this slide by another one?
Previous one?
Yeah. I sent you the next one, next slides, you see. That is with Pramod Salaskar.
Pramod Salaskar, sir, do you have any other slide?
That I sent recently.
That sir sending me the your.
Yeah, it's your in your email address.
Yeah,
This is the very different one.
that PPT madam I send you from Mexico madam. Kenya and Nepal is combined that is.
Yeah.
Shall I take pause on this slide, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Then
need another
I'll
one.
just end it and I'll share directly from the email.
Yeah.
If I have.
I modified all these slides. This slide tells a different story. You can just go out of this slide. No.
Yeah. Just a few minutes.
I just shortened the number of slides to fit in 15 to 20 minutes.
Well,
Sorry.
just minute, sir. I'm searching the recent slide.
See today's date.
Salaskar, sir, can you share it from your end? Salaskar, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, madam. मी बघतो
Can you
madam.
share it from your end?
I will try, madam. I will try.
Yeah.
Say, madam.
We probably can have another speaker in the meantime.
You can.
Sorry for inconvenience. By the time the PPT is...
You can request another speaker for the to continue this one. And
I request our third speaker, Dr. Hemant Karkanis, sir, who is working as Associate Manager in the Mangroves Department, Construction Business Unit of Godrej and YC Manufacturing Corporation Limited since 2007. Hemant sir handles multiple roles as mangroves biodiversity expert, on-field instructor, and mangrove security observer. Apart from this, Hemant sir also delivers lectures in seminars, workshops, research meets, international and national conferences on a variety of related topics.
no, this is not.
Hemant sir is professionally qualified in master's degree in entomology. I request Dr. Hemant Karkanis sir to take over the charge. Over to you, Dr. Hemant Karkanis sir.
Thanks a lot. Can you hear me properly now?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
हा बोला नाही ते सापडलेलं आहे तुमच्याकडे आहे का बघा ते मॅडमला पाठवून द्या
Just let me know when my screen is visible.
Sure, sir.
तीच म्हणते का सर? ते आता काल पाठवली म्हणते किंवा आज पाठवली ती म्हणते सर. नाही ना?
Is it?
कालची पाठवली.
Not yet, sir.
ती पाठवून द्या, पाठवून द्या. हा मॅडमला पाठवून द्या. हां चालेल. ओके.
Hemant sir, are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I able. Actually, I properly click on share to all windows, entire screen.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Then,
Yes, sir.
yeah, it directly open in my PowerPoint. Now here again, I return on the screen where I can see that the share screen icon is now not highlighted. I think I shared, but it is not shared properly.
Yes, sir. Can you please try once again, sir?
No, because now at this moment I can't click on that arrow of the
Did you get my new slides?
You can do one thing, sir. You can stop your screen, share
Okay,
screen
okay,
option,
that is fine.
and again you can try it once again.
No. Now even I can't click on that. I think yes.
शेवाळे सर
It's okay.
ऑप्शन द्या ना हे करायला, शेअरिंग करायला.
ऑप्शन नाही दिसत आता. मगाशी
नाही
दिसत
तेच
होतं.
मी होस्ट जे आहेत ना त्यांना सांगते आहे. शेवाळे सर
इथं ऑप्शन शेअर करेल ऑप्शन देते तुला.
Because that screen sharing
Make an amount.
tab is
Make an amount.
it is not clickable.
हा सर बोला सर. हा सर बोला. मला पाठवली का मॅडमला पाठवली? मॅडमला पाठवली ना? ओके. चालेल. हा काय चालेल.
सर आता येत आहे का तुम्हाला शेअरिंग ऑप्शन?
नाही.
ॲरोला क्लिक करा. ते सगळ्यांना ओपन ठेवलेलं आहे.
बटन हायलाइटेड नाही.
ठेव एक मिनिट सांग. एक मिनिट होस्टला सांगते.
हॅलो
हा.
सर तुम्ही ॲरोवर क्लिक केलं ना?
अहो मला माहित आहे, मी गुगल मीट रोज वापरतो.
हा.
आता माझ्याकडचं ऑप्शन हायलाइटेड नाहीये.
सर तुम्ही ती जेव्हा येईल ना तुम्ही ती स्क्रीनला क्लिक करा सर. तोपर्यंत हायलाइट नाही होणार. स्क्रीन सिलेक्ट नसेल केली सर तुम्ही.
माझ्याकडे सगळे बटन हायलाइटेड आहे, हेच फक्त नाहीये.
नाही सर, शेअर केल्यानंतर ना स्क्रीन शेअर केल्यानंतर आहे ना तुम्ही ती स्क्रीन सिलेक्ट करा. तोपर्यंत तो हायलाइट होणार नाही सर तो स्क्रीनचा शेअरचा ऑप्शन.
मॅडम मी सरांची पाठवली, तुम्ही फॉरवर्ड केली पीपीटी शैलेंद्र सरांची.
मी परत रिजॉईन करतो मी.
हॅलो सुवर्ण मॅडम. हॅलो
हा बोला ना
मी
सर.
पाठवले शैलेंद्र सरांची पीपीटी परत पाठवली.
ईमेलला पाठवली का?
मेलवर फॉरवर्ड केली.
Try first to load from here again, and if not, then you can run the slide from there.
ओके. माझा ईमेल उघडा करायचा.
Can I run myself my slide right now? Hello?
Hello. Kindly wait, sir. Rahul ma'am is checking her email.
Okay.
Still my screen is not visible.
No, sir.
Something is wrong here because I just re-logged in our conference ka Google Meet.
Okay.
as soon as I relog in, I see that then the button or screen sharing option was highlighted. Then I clicked on full screen option. और जैसे ही full screen option पे click किया, everything was gone, not called as no highlighted anything.
Okay, can I tell you once again, sir?
मी परत ऑफलाईन जातोय.
Okay.
मॅडम काळेस्कर सरांच्या मेलवरती आलंय बघा यांचं नवीन पीपीटी.
हॅलो
मॅडम बघते.
हो येस.
हॅलो
Hemant sir?
Yes.
Hemant sir, we'll take your presentation later on.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, we are starting with the presentation.
Yeah,
of
you can continue. You can continue.
Thank you, sir.
Shailendra sir,
Okay.
now
I'm
it's
ready.
okay.
I'm ready. Okay. So
Is it the same?
actually, I am using the templates of the slides that I had a presentation in Mexico with regards to the Wetland Lake Conference 18th, and these are the almost same template but organized in a different way. So
Okay. We have
start
came.
from-
We have over this one
Yeah, we did this one,
and just forwarding.
and yes, we did this one. Next,
We have
also
completed
did-
this also.
Yeah. Yes. This is the same slide. How it
Yeah,
comes?
no. Another one recently you have sent, na? That one is there.
Oh yeah. That's fine. Okay.
We
Okay,
came
now-
here.
Now we enter. Nepal is under a federal structure right now. You probably all know about this. Now we have 7 provinces. Now we go to the province where we are focusing about one of the wetland. That is the Ramsar site. Click one. That click one. Yeah, that is a Gandaki state. So, and this is a very wonderful landscape. And you can see Himal, you can see high altitude mountain, you can see dense forest, you can see valley, gorges, rivers, so many things. And you probably may not know that Nepal is a very small country, but it has 18 type of wetlands recently figured out. Nepal is in the process of defining. Nepal is in the process of having a functional definition of wetland and categories of wetlands. So we have a ranges of 18 wetlands, 18 types of wetland available in Nepal, and we talk about some wetlands in the Gandaki state. The next slide, please. Yeah, it's the same slide.
Same one. Recently you have sent, na? That
Same
one only.
slide is, and this date is different. Anyway, I go with this one, no problem.
Yeah.
So this is the history of you say. Let me give you one chance. You see, I try to load from here. Can you exit from there?
Yeah. I'll stop sharing from this side.
Yeah.
आता त्याच्यावर होतोय.
Not happening.
Now you can. I have stopped my sharing. You can click it on the arrow, and you can share it.
I did that one. It's not happening. It's not happening. Your entire screen. Let me say. I try this window one. This window.
Now you are on the mains. Sharing is going on.
But Not coming. My screen is not coming.
Sir, minimize this window and go to the presentation, your presentation.
Okay. Yeah. It's coming. Is this coming?
No, it's your screen is seen, but slides are not seen.
Oh. Not coming. It's coming? No? Not coming. What's happening? I don't know.
Sir, just click on your presentation. Doesn't not do anything. So minimize this main window and go to your presentation. Click on the slides.
It's not happening actually. I'm doing the same.
Yeah, I was also facing same problem. After clicking on the sharing button, it gets de-highlighted and nothing happened.
Actually, my screen is not coming here. You see, and so I don't see my file.
Excuse me, sir. Your screen is visible to us, sir. You can just do one thing. You can just minimize the conference screen, and you can just turn on your main presentation.
Okay.
Your screen is visible. We can visualize whatever what you are doing, sir.
Yes.
Your screen is visible to us. You can see your presentation on the ribbon on the downside. You can just turn on that.
Where?
At the bottom of the ribbon, sir. You might have opened your presentation. You have kept it open.
It is here, and then I can see. I cannot minimize.
PowerPoint icon might be visible in the bottom.
You can minimize your this browser. It is full screen. That's why you can't see that taskbar. First, your taskbar should be visible. Here we can see your taskbar.
This
Taskbar, Windows taskbar.
it's not seeing. I'm not seeing those things from here. So that is the problem.
But your presentation is on full screen. That's why. Minimize it.
I don't know how to do it.
Okay, Shailendra sir,
Yeah.
you can just do one thing. You can just turn on your presentation first.
I go off and I join again.
Sir, otherwise you can share it to Sayaskar sir again.
That is the Sahaskar sir. You can share from your side, na?
Okay, madam.
That will be the easy. He can explain and you can share. Whenever he say that next, you can click it.
But that is same PPT, no, madam.
It's coming?
No, sir.
No? Pramodji,
Yes, sir.
you can read my slide from there.
Okay, madam.
Recent
You
one.
share from your side. Sahaskar sir, you can share it.
Yeah.
And
मी करतोय मॅडम, मी 2 मिनिटात करतो, ओपन करतो.
Yeah.
हेमंतचं चालू करूया.
Hemant sir, are you ready?
मी रेडीच आहे. आता बघूया, लेट्स सी.
Let us see.
I will show you something.
मामूद सर वेलकम. मामूद ठक्कर सर. जॉईन करून घेतले होते. मामूद ठक्कर जॉईन करून घेतले होते. दोघांचा स्लाइडचा प्रॉब्लेम.
My screen visible? No, right?
फक्त बटरफ्लाय दिसतो सर. फक्त बटरफ्लाय दिसतंय.
Okay, ठीक आहे. Is it there? Now I open my presentation.
नाही सर, फक्त बटरफ्लाय दिसतंय.
No, then there is something serious problem in the meeting only.
Yes.
Because I am using Google Meet every day for my all presentations.
Correct.
But I never face the problem like this. Now, as I have already shared the screen, now sharing button is faded. I have sent all the photographs of each and every stage to Dr. Saraskar on his WhatsApp. Sir, you can share this. Photos on the relevant staff of the college.
सर मी बघतोय सर, मी ऍक्च्युली कारण सरांचंही डाउनलोड करतोय, वेळ लागतो जरा.
तुमच्या व्हॉट्सअप वरती बघा सर, मी तुम्हाला माझे फोटो पाठवले, काय काय मी कुठे कुठे क्लिक केलंय ते. अँड नाउ माय शेअरिंग बटन इज नॉट हायलाइटेड अँड माय स्क्रीन इज आय थिंक ऑलरेडी शेअर्ड बट नॉट विजिबल ऑन गुगल मीट.
दिसत नाही मध्ये केलेला तो, मी फक्त यांचं बघतोय जरा. टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लेम आहे का?
काय त्यांचा काय प्रॉब्लेम आहे सांगा ना.
काहीतरी आहे प्रॉब्लेम.
हॅलो हॅलो हा सर.
ऍक्च्युली मला कोणीतरी पिंग करा, मी तुम्हाला पूर्ण माझा व्हॉट्सअप कॉल करतो इफ यू वॉन्ट व्हिडिओ कॉल अँड आय विल शो यू व्हॉट आय एम डुईंग अँड स्टिल इट इज नॉट हॅपनिंग.
Actually what happened, sir?
Actually, I am clicking on the button for screen sharing. It is clickable initially. Then there are three options. First option is share full screen.
Yes, correct.
As soon as I click on share full screen,
Yes.
button become faded, hoping that my screen is shared. पण ती शेअर होतच नाहीये.
ओके एक मिनिट मी बघतो.
बरं, माझा नंबर द्या मला, मी सेव्ह करतो. आणि
जस्ट अ मोमेंट सर, मेन सर्व्हर वरती चालले ते.
Sir, can you use the laptop? Are you use the laptop?
Yeah, I am using laptop. Company laptop.
Sir, I suggest last more try. So
yeah, but for that I have to
share
leave
the screen first.
for timing.
Okay.
एक मिनिट मी लीव करून विदिन हाफ मिनिट मी जॉइन करतो.
No. You don't
Okay.
leave, sir. You just stop the sharing.
तुम्ही
you stop, sir.
नाही, स्क्रीन शेअरिंग स्टॉप नाही करू शकत बिकॉज बटन इज नॉट हायलाइटेड. आय कांट डू एनिथिंग.
Okay.
हा,
You don't,
मेसेज.
sir.
एक मिनिट. कांट शेअर युअर स्क्रीन. सॉरी, अँड एरर ऑकर्ड व्हेन स्क्रीन शेअरिंग. असा पॉपअप आलाय मला आता.
हा, आता स्क्रीन शेअर होते सर तुमची.
आता स्क्रीन शेअर होते सर तुमचं.
हा, ते मेन सर्व्हरला गेलेत, आता होईल कदाचित.
आता दिसतो तुम्हाला माझा पॉपअप दिसतंय?
हा, तुमचा पॉपअप दिसतोय.
ओके. नाउ प्रेझेंटेशन इज विजिबल.
Yes, sir. No, sir. You share entire screen
या, आय हॅव शेअर्ड एंटायर स्क्रीन ओनली.
and click on the popping window. Small window is coming. Click on that particular popping window and then share option is visible.
हॅलो.
नो सर.
सर एक आता ट्राय करून बघा सर.
केलंय ट्राय ऑलरेडी.
कारण की इकडे तर सर काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही आहे सर, मी चेक केलं.
जस्ट होल्ड.
ओके.
रावळ मॅडम तुम्ही शेअर करून बघा ना होते का.
माझ्याकडे त्यांची नाही ना पीपीटी सर.
नाही जस्ट शेअर करून
मी
बघा.
करते, एक मिनिट.
म्हणजे सर्व्हरचा प्रॉब्लेम होणार नाही याचा अर्थ.
या, आय एम हिअर अगेन.
या,
सॉरी,
मी शेअर केली सर. हा, येते ना सर माझी शेअर.
तुमची स्क्रीन मला दिसते.
प्रॉब्लेम टेक्निकल नाहीये सर, काहीतरी
येस मॅम.
ऑपरेटिंग मिस्टेक आहे सर.
ऑपरेटिंग मिस्टेक आहे. मी स्टॉप करते शेअरिंग. ऑपरेटिंग मिस्टेक आहे सर. ओके सर, यू कॅन कंटिन्यू विथ द.
Okay. Now I am just recording everything for. Okay, screen share करतो मी. Entire screen I have shared. Nothing happened.
पॉपअप विंडो आली त्याच्यावर क्लिक करा.
हो, त्याच्यावरच केलं.
आणि ते मिनिमाइज करा विंडो आणि मग तुमची पीपीटी रन करा.
अगोदर मिनिमाइज करायच्या अगोदर तुम्हाला माझी स्क्रीन दिसली पाहिजे ना. आता मिनिमाइज केलं तर माझी पॉवर पॉईंटची विंडो समोर आहे माझ्या. सर, इफ पॉसिबल प्लीज शेअर माय लास्ट व्हिडिओ टू ऑर्गनायझर. मी पूर्ण माझी प्रोसेस रेकॉर्ड केलेली आहे. व्हॉट्सअपवर तुम्ही ऑनलाईन दिसते मला सर. व्हॉट्सअपवर लास्ट व्हिडिओ बघा.
पाठवले मी मॅडम.
ईमेलला पाठवली तर होईल सर.
ईमेल वरती नको, मी व्हॉट्सअपचा हे केलेलं आहे.
व्हॉट्सअपवर
व्हिडिओ शेअर केलाय. स्क्रीन शेअरिंगचा
पुरी सर तुम्हाला पाठवतो मी.
व्हॉट्सअप वरून कशी शेअर करणार पण.
अहो, माझा व्हिडिओ आत्ताचा मी जे स्क्रीन शेअर करण्याची प्रोसेस केली ना, त्याचा मी हे केलेला आहे. रेकॉर्ड करून पाठवलं.
ओके.
मी पाठवतो.
मी बघते मी ते सर.
मला आणि काफी पुरी सरांना पाठवलेली.
मला पाठवली का? मला पाठवली सर.
नाही, नथिंग इज हॅपन. या, नाही सर, तिकडूनच आहे. ते क्लिक जेव्हा ॲरो वरती करताना तिथली पुढची प्रोसेस होत नाहीये सर. तुमच्याकडे होते पण इथं विजिबल होत नाहीये.
एक्झॅक्टली. आणि आता बघा ते स्क्रीन शेअरिंगचं ऑप्शनच हायलाइट नाही झालेलं.
एक मिनिट.
As soon as I click on the share entire screen, the button become faded.
सर ॲक्च्युली तुमचा ना मोबाईलचा थोडा इश्यू असू शकतो, त्याच्यामुळे ती स्क्रीन शेअर होत नाहीये.
हॅलो, मी सरांची करून बघू का नेपाळ सर वेटलँड.
कारण की सर शेअरिंग सगळ्यांचे होत आहेत सर, फक्त तुमच्याचकडनं होते. कारण की टेक्निकल एरर राहिला असतं तर सर बघितलं असतं मी इकडे, पण स्क्रीन शेअर होते सर आमच्याकडे.
हे पण मी यांची शैलेंद्र सरांची बघतो मी स्क्रीन शेअर होती का. हॅलो
हॅलो.
हॅलो हा शैलेंद्र सरांची करून बघू का.
हो सर, करून बघा ना सर. नेटवर्कचा इश्यू मॅडम त्यांचा. काय स्लो नेटवर्क असलं ना शेअरिंग नाही होत.
Thank you, Shama madam, for your blessings. Thank you. अरे चंद्रना पण ब्लॅक झाली.
सर तुमची स्क्रीन शेअर झाली सर. हो.
हॅलो
हां सर.
हॅलो हा स्क्रीन शेअर झाली ना.
हो सर, स्क्रीन शेअर झाली.
मी तुम्ही करताय का शैलेंद्र सर.
सर शैलेंद्र सर लेफ्ट झाले वाटतं. जरा त्यांचा लॅपटॉप हँग झाला वाटतं.
हो 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 हो.
डॉक्टर साळसकर तुम्ही शेअरिंग काढून टाका. लास्ट ट्राय मी करतोय कारण मी आता माझं हे बदललंय मतलब म्हणजे नवं ऑर्गनायझेशनचं ब्रॉडबँड घेतलंय मी आता. लेट्स सी.
ये देखो मुझे मेल पे आया हो गया शेयर देखो मेल पे आया ये चाहिए उन्हें भेजना है. नहीं शेयर करेंगे लेकिन सेम ही क्या
आता झालं कसं.
ये चाहिए बरोबर है. पीपीटी है. किसने भेजा कोई सार्च करने.
साळसकर सर आता काय करायचं.
मी लास्ट ट्राय करतो.
हा नाही, आलात सर. तुम्ही झाला जॉईन झालात सर कारखाने सर.
मी जॉईंट आहे. आता मी माझं नेटवर्क बदललंय. नाव ब्रॉडबँड वरती मी कंपनीच्या.
अच्छा. आता
देन ऑल्सो आय थिंक द सेम प्रॉब्लेम इज देअर.
हाँ ना. यूट्यूब पे 94 क्या बात है. आप इधर से शेयर कर सकते हैं क्या. हाँ शेयर करो. हाँ इधर से शेयर करो. शेयर करें और
तुमच्याकडचं. हां
इससे आप शेयर करो. हाँ और ये करेगा यूट्यूब में सब कुछ देखिए. वही यूट्यूब में सारे देखेंगे.
मी थांबायची ते त्यांना गाईड करा.
हो हो.
साळसकर सर कारखाने सरांची पीपीटी आली आहे तुमच्याकडे.
माझ्याकडे आली आहे.
मग तुम्ही पाठवा ना ईमेलला माझ्याकडे.
अच्छा ठीक आहे मी करतो मॅडम.
म्हणजे आम्ही इकडे डाउनलोड करतो आणि मी इकडून प्ले करतो.
अच्छा मग प्रोसेस करतो मी.
हा ते इथं करता येऊ शकतं ना. हे शैलेंद्र सरांची केली.
फक्त एकच मिनिट हं, जरा तिथे मेलवर टाकतो मी फॉरवर्ड.
हो.
मॅडम मी सेंड केले तुम्हाला मेलवर. हॅलो सुवर्णा मॅडम मी सेंड केले.
डॉक्टर विजय कुमार
डॉक्टर एस एस भैसर पण कुठे काय तर आपण भैसर
ज्यांना यांना लिंक भेटली जॉईन होतात ना
भालसर.
आता व्हिडिओ आहे ना सर?
हो मॅडम व्हिडिओ आहे तुम्हाला शेअर केलाय मी
पण
मेलवर.
तो व्हॉट्सअपला त्यांनी तो ह्याचा ऑपरेशनचा त्यांची पीपीटीचा शेअर करा ना सर.
पीपीडी नाही मॅडम त्यांनी व्हिडिओच पाठवलाय.
नाही तो तर आहेच माझ्याकडे, तो आला ना माझ्याकडे.
पीपीडी नाही पाठवली मला.
नाही पाठवली का?
तो नाही.
शैलेंद्र सांगतो
व्हिडिओ शेअर केला.
ओके ओके.
हा बालसर तर आपलं कॉलेज कुठं सर? डॉक्टर एस एस बालसर आहे.
ठीक
सर मंडणगड कॉलेज.
ओके वेलकम.
थँक्यू सर.
शैलेंद्र सरांची तोपर्यंत करते सर मी. चाळसकर सर मी शैलेंद्र सरांची नवीन करते ओपन, बघते ट्राय करून. ही चाली मग
चालेल मॅडम चालेल ठीक आहे.
कुठे इथं आली का? ती प्ले करा. पण शैलेंद्र सर बहुतेक फिट झाले आहेत का शैलेंद्र सर?
फोन लागत नाही मॅडम. मी परत
एक्झिट करा आणि ही ठेवा म्हणजे मग तो गडबड होणार नाही. ही घ्या बंदच करा. ठेवली ना? हम्म. 19th मार्च वाली. नाही अगोदर त्यांना शाळास्कर सरांना, शैलेंद्र सरच नाही तर काय करणार. शैलेंद्र सरांची कुठे ठेवली ती पीपीटी? ठेवली हो बरोबर आहे, पण तुम्हाला इथं बेस बारला ठेव ना. आली हा बरं ठीक. शैलेंद्र सरांची मी करून ठेवली आहे सर.
ओके मॅडम.
हा आता शैलेंद्र सर ट्वीट झालेले आहेत. मी आता त्यांची परत रन करते. त्यांनी जी पाठवली आता रिसेंट तुम्ही पाठवली ती बघा. हे आलं. हा ते कुठपर्यंत आले होते तिथपासून मी आणते स्लाइड.
ओके मॅडम चालेल. मी प्रयत्न करतो त्यांना परत.
हा
नेटचा इश्यू असणार तिथे.
हे आहे त्यांचं जनरल स्टेटस ऑफ हिमालया वेटलँड्स.
चालेल मॅडम मी प्रयत्न करतो. तिथे इंटरनेटचा प्रॉब्लेम असणार.
मग काय स्टॉप करू शेअरिंग हे?
हा सगळं स्टॉप करतो. मी कॉन्टॅक्ट करतो. मी फोन करतो लागत नाहीये. प्रयत्न करतोय मी त्यांना कॉन्टॅक्ट करतो. नेटचा प्रॉब्लेम.
स्क्रीन विजिबल आहे ना माझी सर?
हो मॅडम हो.
हा म्हणजे इथला टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लेम नाहीये. कारखाने सरांचा नेटवर्कचा इश्यू असावा.
फक्त मॅडम प्रयत्न.
राहुल वरती आण. वरती आयटी वरती पहिल्या मजल्यावर. हा
ओके तिकडे
हा वरती आहे ना आयटी बाहेर
दोन्ही तुझ्या
लॅबच्या वरती.
शेअरिंगचा टेक्निकल इश्यू नाहीये.
मला पाठवले ना.
हा
ते दोन्ही दिसतात.
ही आता रिसेंट मी डाउनलोड करून घेतली आहे.
हो हो चालेल. पण दोन्ही मी बघितलं, दोन्ही सेम. मी प्रयत्न करतोय मॅडम.
हा हेमंत,
So what to do, sir?
काय प्रॉब्लेम होत नाही का अजून?
त्यांचं होत नाही का?
पीपीटी शेअर होत नाही.
प्रसाद
हेमंत सर
सरांच्या
हा प्रसाद सरांचा
सुरू करायचं.
हो हो चालेल मॅडम. एकदम वेळ क्वालिटी झालं सर्टिफिकेट वाटलं. हेमंतचं होत नाही का?
हा ना, नाही प्रॉब्लेम मोठी मोठी हो ना हो ना. नाही प्रसन्न एक काम कर, नाही तर स्लाइड कमी करून काय होतंय का शेअर करता येईल का? बर चालेल. ते काय झालं की पोखरेल तर पण नेपाळहून ते ऑफलाईन झालं का असं झालं.
Prasad sir,
ओके
Yes, madam.
can you take charge of the rest of the things because we are helpless because both the resource person unable to join.
So what will I do is actually I was to summarize,
Ha
but I'll quickly summarize Dr. Guruge's lecture.
ha
Then whatever Dr. Shailendra Kumar Pokhral was about to say,
ha
I just mention about that.
yeah
And then about Hemant and Godrej, this thing. Hemant was to talk on mangroves, right?
yeah Godrej project.
Correct. So I'll speak for some time, talking on their behalf. Is it okay?
Yeah
Sure.
yeah you can start. Yes sir, thank you.
Okay.
Just a minute, give me a moment, sir.
Sure.
Uh, yes, we have with us one more eminent personality, Dr. Prasad Karnik, sir. He's Vice President Paryavaran Dakshata Mandal, and he is here to review our today's international conference on wetlands. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I congratulate the B.N.N. college, especially the management, to support such a cause. I am indebted to the management of the college, to the organizing committee, the zoology department, my friend and eminent teacher and biologist, Dr. Suvarna Rawal madam, Dr. Kakvipure sir, all the office bearers of the organization and the college. I am always awed with a person whom I know for long, who never comes in the forefront, but makes sure that many such opportunities actually take proper shape, and he is none other than Dr. Pramod Salaskar sir. On behalf of Naushad Ali Sarvoar Samvardhini, he is associated with this great event. So I thank him, and most important, for the community for which this conference is aimed at, mainly my all good friends, the students. Though I do not know them, they do not know me, but yes, all dear students, I thank you all for being with us. And now, as already decided, I'll take over my role as summarizing the entire event. Unfortunately, we failed to hear two stalwarts. One who had already started the presentation, Dr. Shailendra Kumar Pokhral, who has worked on multiple number of wetlands, mainly the water bodies, the lakes in Nepal, and again my good old friend, our student friend, Mr. Hemant Karkhanis, who has worked phenomenally well in protecting the mangroves, which are the saviors of these wetlands. Starting with the first presentation, Dr. Guruge, he talked, and again I interrupt myself. I am really thankful to the organizers and the people who had designed this particular conference, that initially Dr. Guruge talked on wetlands, its definition, description, types, services, etc., etc. Then Dr. Shailendra Kumar Pokharel on one particular, I would call it as management mode, which he has labeled as LCPV, that is lake conservation. So that particular was there, and the third one on the mangroves. बोला हाँ ठीक है ठीक है okay, is it okay? So Dr. Guruge taught on the basics of wetlands. Before that, Dr. Suvarna Rawal madam gave the overview and the aims and objective of this particular event. As she rightly mentioned, though World Wetlands Day falls on 2nd February every year, actually these natural resources are so important and eminent that every day is World Wetlands Day, and in that context, even today, as B.N.N College and NASS, they are celebrating, or they are organizing this particular conference. Dr. Guruge started with the definition of wetlands, initially with Ramsar Convention. As all of us know, that Ramsar Convention is international body which works for the governance, conservation, protection and appropriate utilization of wetlands across the globe. The Ramsar, the lake which is in Iran, along which the first ever conference of United Nations on wetlands took place on 2nd February 1972. So this Ramsar Convention and Ramsar sites, the wetlands which are very, very important ecologically, economically, nationally, internationally, environmentally, and so on and so forth. These particular, for their proper management, are given a special status of Ramsar site, and then the proper conservation takes place. We are honored Indians to have number of Ramsar sites in our nation. There are 2 sites even in our own state. So Dr. Guruge talked about the Ramsar Convention definition of wetlands and the general definitions of wetlands. He also described wetlands properly. He gave an account of the biota, the biodiversity, the physico-chemical characteristics, types of wetlands. As we know that semi-saline and saline or coastal wetlands, inland wetlands, that is mainly the freshwater and semi-saline wetlands and man-made wetlands. So he gave very good account of these types with explanation. Then he went on to underline the importance and significance of wetlands. He gave the economic ecosystem services, its types and classification, and he described each service into details, like provisional services, like environmental services, like regulative services, all of these. And last but not the least, or rather penultimate, last but one, he mentioned about the uses, functions and attributes. What are the characteristic features of wetlands? So he mentioned about it in uses. Obviously, the natural products, the services offered by the water, and the research and educational services, which he categorized as uses. Then functions of wetlands, the regulatory services, as I mentioned, these are the regulatory functions. Then protective functions, and pollution control and management. Then attributes the biodiversity gene pool. He very, it time and again underline the fact that Dr. Guruge is a very good teacher, very good explainer, and he explained everything in a very lucid and flowing language. And lastly, which is very important, the threats which are man-made or anthropogenic, which are because of natural but invasive species threats, and of course the pollution. So he mentioned everything about it. And conservation, he mentioned at the very last, a very good insight he gave to all of us, that instead of going for all out conservation, he said that we should classify the conservation strategies as far as the uses of wetlands are concerned, the functions of wetlands are concerned, and attributes of wetlands are concerned. And then 3 by 3 grid he showed, and out of that, whatever grid your wetland falls, if it needs the management strategies and conservation measures very badly, then we have to take immediate measure. On the contrary, if the wetland around me with which I am working, then if that particular is in safe zone, safe grid, then there is no much sweat to be shedded for its conservation. Dr. Guruge sir, it was very really nice, insightful approach for conservation. So that was the first presentation. The second one was from Dr. Shailendra Kumar Pokhrel from Nepal. He has a wonderful presentation, and as he rightly mentioned, that instead of going for the preliminaries, he directly went for the conservation method. He mentioned about various lakes in Nepal, various sectors in Nepal, and then the Nepalian water resources as they are along the Himalayan ranges. These are called as water towers, and he has chosen a particular conservation, I would say, site, Pokhara Valley, along the Pokhara River, and the lake conservation strategies with scientific approaches, with practical approaches, with local involvement, with administrative involvement, that is the governing body involvement, and most important, he has mentioned in his presentation how important is the fiscal matter, that is the economic aspect, which is very important. So if we can work on all these levels, right from the implementing agency, which has multi-pronged connections, one with grassroots level, that is the local community and communities, second with the local governing bodies, the administrative, third is the educational institutes and research aspect, and fourth is most important is the economic aspect. If we make all these prongs very solid and capable of working independently, then any conservation method in general and conservation methods for wetlands in particular, Dr. Shailendra sir has mentioned about the about the, just a minute, talked about particularly about the Pokhara Valley Lake Conservation Program. So first about the primary things about wetlands, second direct conservation strategies and one model, and third the great eminent mangrove conservationist, one among us, Mr. Hemant Karkhanis. He has worked from 2007, it is almost 15 odd years he is working for Godrej. And as we all know, Godrej, everyone knows about the products, but Godrej is a very great, I would say that conglomerate which works for the betterment of the society. And when we talk about societal betterment or societal development, the nature or the natural ecosystems are the crux of everything. I mean, I am there because of the nature, I am there because of the ecosystem I am staying in. So Godrej for many years now, I would put it almost 40 plus years, Godrej is actively conserving hundreds of acres of mangroves along the Vikroli. It starts from almost Bhandu and it ends almost beyond Ghatkopar. So these thousands of acres of mangrove ecosystem is conserved by Godrej company, and of course the company is important, the financiers are important, but along which very important aspect is the person or team of the persons working for it. So Hemant Karkhane sir must have, I mean, aimed at talking to that. See, this Godrej mangroves is a classic example, as Shailendra Kumar sir was to talk on lake conservation of Pokhara Valley, and I just, or rather he had included many aspects which I just mentioned few minutes back. This is a very particular and classic example of conservation of wetlands, because when we conserve the mangroves, we are conserving the shores along which mangroves are there, we are conserving the water body. Now along the Godrej mangroves, these are brackish water vegetation, that is along the creek or estuary. As we all know, estuary is a confluence of river and sea, marine water, freshwater and marine water, while the creek is an ecosystem where there is no freshwater resource as such, but the marine water gets diluted because of ground fresh water, just like our own Thane Creek, along which the Godrej mangroves reside. So Godrej has done a wonderful work on the conservation, and not only conservation, protection, but development of mangroves, which are the protective walls. I'll just mention here one thing which underlines in bold italic the importance of mangroves. In 2005, the Thane and Mumbai, we faced a great calamity wherein flooding occurred, and that was because of chopping off of mangroves along the Mumra Diva stretch of the Kalyan estuary, Ullas estuary and Thane Creek. These mangroves, if they would have been there in 2005, 26 July to be very precise, which 26 July is the World Mangroves Day, and which started its celebration from 2005 itself. On the day we faced great calamity, which was not entirely natural, but because of the heavy rains, because of the high tide, coming at that very point, and the chopping off of mangroves. So we are here very safe in Mumbai metropolitan region, Thane, Navi Mumbai, Mumbai, Kalyan, Dombivli, all the region. We are safe because thanks to Godrej mangroves, they are working mainly with students and with corporates. They have n number of projects and programs, with the help of which they connect this local and natural resource with each and every sector of the society. They have a huge residential colony, Godrej colony. The entire population is directly connected with the conservation strategy. As I mentioned, they are approaching many corporates which come to the site or online method. They give rather lectures and conduct seminars and workshops to highlight the importance of mangroves in particular and wetlands in general. So this particular I would say the flow the general idea and aspects of wetlands, one particular management strategy or program, and third, one very particular management strategy for a particular resource or particular ecosystem, namely mangrove. So this is a very right flow, I suppose, and we all know that wetlands, as Suvarna madam had mentioned earlier, that these are not waste lands, these are the best lands, and it can be a land, in very simple words, I would put it this way, which gets exposed but remains wet, and which gets flooded with water periodically. The periodicity may be every day diurnal or every year, only monsoon time. And in that context, your own city, Bhiwandi, has n number of wetlands. There are lakes, there are ponds, the banks are the wetlands. Not only that, I'll go to an extent where many of my friends, they do not agree with me, but even a well which is a constructed water body, a very confined water body, the bank of a well can be considered as wetlands if the water from the well, either because of anthropogenic activities, human activities, the people may go there for washing, washing clothes, for washing cattle, whatever it is. So in that way, even a well, boundary of a well also can be termed as wetlands. So we have what I perceive, because I suppose I'm not a great person, I'm a very simple, small person, but the only fact that I am with the wetlands for last more than 40 years, 40, that is the reason why I am here to summarize the session, and I am here to talk a little bit on the local wetlands. I congratulate all the students from B.N.N college. The current students may not know, but thanks to Rawal madam and other Kakvipure sir and many other teachers and non-teaching staff, last 10 years, because before 10 years, I represent Paryavaran Dakshata Mandal and an NGO. We are directly in communication with Godrej Mangroves, we are in communication with NAS, Dr. Pramod Salaskar sir, and we are in communication with contact with B.N.N college. 10 years down the road, we have organized one Wetlands Day program in B.N.N college, and from that day, every college and school in Bhiwandi, they are taking utmost care. So friends, it is our responsibility to conserve these wonderful, rewarding ecosystems named as wetlands. What can I do? In just one sentence, I'll not throw any garbage, any waste, any undegradable, non-degradable thing out of my home, so it will not reach the river, the creek, the well water, whatever wetland or whatever water body I have near me. And secondly, all the students, even at this very late hour, they are with me. So students, educate other people that wetlands are needed. They give us direct money, direct revenue. They give us indirect help, which is life saving. So with this, I suppose that the international conference, which was held on 19th of March, that is today, by Bhiwandi Nijampur Nagarpalika College, its management, Naushad Sarvoar Samvardhini Samiti, Dr. Pramod Salaskar, and all the dignitaries who were responsible for this conference, I once again congratulate and thank them profusely, and I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all, and we are here to save the wetlands. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Your presence and wise words helped us magnify our concept of wetlands and its conservation. Now we have Hemant Karkhani sir with us. I'll just ask him to start with his presentation.
Yes,
Wonderful,
I'm.
wonderful. Thank
I
you.
don't
I'm
know.
relieved.
Abhi, just let's see. Let me confirm whether the screen is visible or not. Is it?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Same issue. Because initially I was on Vikrodi West, and in next 5 minutes I rushed to Vikrodi East in my another office to connect. It is connected, but I don't know what happened actually for this. Okay, so क्या करेंगे अभी?
Sir, you directly talk, sir. You directly talk.
If you have the
But it
few
will be
words, sir,
boring.
that will
It
be
will be
okay.
boring. It will be boring.
No,
No, no, no. You talk.
You talk.
You
Hemant
speak,
sir,
sir. We
you
are
just
waiting for your speech.
Yeah. Initially there were 90 participants. Now number reduced to 62.
Yeah,
So
most
I'm
of
quite.
them wait.
Actually, live YouTube streams, sir, 100 students are there. More than 100. On YouTube live
YouTube
streaming.
streaming is going on, sir.
Okay. So let's see क्या होता है आगे. So I will start my presentation. So I'm extremely sorry that due to some technical issues, I can't share my screen. This is first time in my whole mangrove awareness program career this happened. I don't know what happened today. I actually conduct same Google Meet sessions, Zoom sessions, and Teams session every day. आज पहले बार ये हुआ है. So I don't know what will happen. So I will start my session. Please थोड़ा सा आप मेरे से cooperate कीजिए. Dr. Karnik told many things about mangroves, about the Godrej activity, what they are doing, and he's exactly right. And I am today representing Godrej mangroves. So I am Hemant Karkhanis, working in Godrej mangroves since last 15 years. In 2007 5th March मेरा joining date था, तो आज 15 साल से ज़्यादा हो गए. So mangroves are called as coast guard of Mumbai. If you are talking about Mumbai and suburb area, Bhiwandi को भी mangroves है बहुत सारे. So many time people think that mangroves are what called as they are dumping grounds or dumping places for all our belongings. But no, they are full-fledged green, evergreen forest. Why they are evergreen? Many times people ask me, अरे बारिश में तो वो बहुत अच्छे दिखते रहेंगे. So not like this. As there is twice high tide at any creek, and during low tide also mud flats are continuously choke up with water. उनको जितना पानी चाहिए उतना मिलता है. So that's why they are evergreen forest. But there are some problematic things in mangrove ecosystem that those all things are called as limiting factors. उसमें क्या है, सबसे पहले हम देखेंगे कि मैंग्रोव कहाँ बढ़ते हैं. Most of the participants may know that they are coastal forests. They grow in between land and sea, and that's why they partially submerge under water during high tide. अभी हम लोग इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट की बात करेंगे. इफ टॉकिंग अबाउट द महाराष्ट्र, वी आर ब्लेस्ड विद 52 creeks, and out of those 52 creeks, we are very close to not Maharashtra's, not India's, but Asia's largest creek. Yes, it is Thane Creek. Our total expanse is 26 kilometers, and if you include both the banks of New Mumbai, banks of Mumbai, it forms total coastline of 52 kilometers. So 52 किलोमीटर में से 95% coastline is wetland and which support luxuriant growth of mangroves. लेकिन क्या मैंग्रोव रियली बहुत हैप्पी और बहुत अच्छी जगह पे रह रहे हैं? नो, दे हैव टू फेस विथ मेनी नेचुरल थिंग्स, बैड थिंग्स कॉल्ड एज लिमिटिंग फैक्टर्स. क्या क्या है? दे आर नॉट एंथ्रोपोजेनिक. ऐसा लगेगा कि मैं ह्यूमन क्या बैड कर रहा है उसके बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ, अभी तो फिलहाल तो मैं नहीं वैसे बात कर रहा हूँ। नेचुरल कंट्रोलिंग एजेंट क्या है? सबसे पहले एक्सेस अमाउंट ऑफ सॉल्ट, वी नो क्रिक्स। So what is definition of creek? Creeks are it is a part of ocean which intrude into landward area. During high tide, the creek gets flooded with water. कहाँ से आया? Obviously high tide है, तो पानी high tide का कहाँ से आता है? Sea से। तो huge amount of salt, एक। दूसरी बात, as there are mud flats, though there are many cracks and crevasses, everything is choke up with water. No aeration at all. So second is oxygen deficiency. Third, mud flats are so slushy that if you try to step in, it will pull you down at least your knee level. मतलब third limiting factor, loose substratum. Fourth is continue flush of high tide and low tide. तो पानी का बहाव जो है ना वो बहुत ज्यादा होता है. Fifth, very limited or literally no supply of fresh water. अगर ये 5 लिमिटिंग फैक्टर में आप किसी भी ट्री को रखेंगे अपार्ट फ्रॉम मैंग्रोव, इट विल डाई विद इन नेक्स्ट 10 days. 10 भी ज्यादा बोला मैंने, 8 days, 1 week. But mangroves are surviving because they have certain adaptations in them. सबसे main adaptation, they have specialized glands in their leaves. Glands are called as salt excreting glands. These glands help mangrove plant to remove excess amount of salt from their body. Certain mangrove plant doesn't have this type of gland. उसमें क्या होता है? उनमें अल्ट्रा फिल्ट्रेशन होता है at the root level only. मतलब जब भी रूट से वाटर एब्सॉर्ब करते हैं, दैट टाइम ओनली ड्यू टू दैट स्पेशलाइज्ड सेमी परमेबल मेम्ब्रेन. Okay, I'm just pausing over here. I'm asking the faculty of the B.N.N college, ये जो स्टूडेंट है आज हमारे कॉन्फ्रेंस में, उनकी वो कौन से फैकल्टी से है? Arts.
Those are the no, all are science faculty students.
Science, okay, good.
Yeah,
good,
zoology preferably. MSc, TYBSc, we have allowed them to Google Meet, and rest FY, SY student we have allowed them on the YouTube stream.
Very good, very good, very good. That's why I ask, उस लेवल से जाऊंगा. अगर आर्ट्स कॉमर्स है तो उनको सेमी परमेबल मेम्ब्रेन का कुछ आता पता नहीं रहता. तो as they are from biological background, so I can talk whatever I want. So
yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So सेमी परमेबल मेम्ब्रेन उनके रूट्स में रहता है, इसलिए दे एब्सॉर्ब वाटर एंड अ बिट ऑफ सॉल्ट, हाउ मच दे रिक्वायर्ड. सो सॉल्ट एक्सक्रीटिंग ग्लैंड की जरूरत उनमें नहीं होती. नेक्स्ट एडेप्टेशन, दे आर वेरी वेरी यूनिक एंड स्पेशलाइज्ड रूट सिस्टम. जब भी आप कभी मैंग्रोव के आसपास गए रहेंगे, हैव यू नोटिस समथिंग पोकी थिंग्स आर कमिंग आउट, कांटे जैसा ऊपर आ रहे हैं फ्रॉम द मड फ्लैट? Yes, those are breathing roots of mangroves, also called as pneumatophore roots. This root help mangrove plant to breathe during low tide time. वो ऐसे ऊपर आते हैं. Second type of roots called as stilled roots, also called as supporting roots, which arise from the certain height from the bar, from the stem, and they just go downward and percolate in the soil, in the mud flat, in the quicksand, and like this they give extra support and anchoring to main plant, and that's why they are called as supporting roots. Next is they have wax layer on the surface of the leaf. Again, this wax layer is very very important because we all know that during high tide, lower portion of mangrove plant gets submerged underwater, और तभी due to water there should not be any damage to internal delicate organs, so they have to protect from something which is water resistant, and this waxy coating act as water resistant or lamination to them, and thus they can survive without any damage due to saline water. कितने घंटे के लिए? 3-3, 4-4 घंटा वो पानी के नीचे रहते हैं, दिन में 2 बार. Next is viviparous mode of reproduction. You may know, not may know, you know about oviparous and viviparous. Oviparous means egg laying, viviparous means directly give birth to young ones. You can understand this phenomenon very well in case of animals. अगर मैं पूछूंगा एग्जाम्पल बताओ तो आप तो बोलेंगे अरे बर्ड्स है ओविपेरस का एग्जांपल और मैमल से विविपेरस का एग्जांपल. वेरी सिंपल अंडरस्टैंड. बट व्हाट अबाउट द प्लांट्स? Plants are oviparous. In Latin, ova means ovum means egg. So egg laying, the seed laying means oviparous. All plants, all I am talking about angiosperms. But mangroves are viviparous. No doubt they also produce seed. But what is the difference between those plants and mangroves? Normal plant के seed आते हैं, तैयार होते हैं, नीचे गिरते हैं, soil में आते हैं. So there is sprouting from the soil, germination from the soil. But here in case of mangrove, seed will remain attached to mother plant and start germination. Matlab, if you observing mangroves during their peak reproductive period, then you can see hundreds of baby mangrove plants hanging on mother. और ये बहुत important है to reduce mortality rate of the seed. अभी क्या होता है, अगर वो सीड नीचे गिरती है तो ड्यू टू हाई टाइड इट may flush up to Arabian Sea, और Arabian Sea में तो there is no soil. तो जहाँ when there is no organ to hold mud flat, mother will take care of the seed, and when there are organ to hold anchor mud flat, मतलब baby mangrove, मतलब sapling, then only get released from the mother, detached from the mother and grow as a new individual. ये तो हो गया मैंग्रोव के एडेप्टेशन के बारे में. क्या क्या था हमने एडेप्टेशन का देखा. सबसे पहले था सॉल्ट ग्लैंड्स, बाद में था रूट से अल्ट्राफिल्ट्रेशन, नेक्स्ट था रूट्स का एडेप्टेशन. उसमें पहले था ब्रीदिंग रूट्स, दूसरा था स्टिल्ट रूट्स, नेक्स्ट एडेप्टेशन था उसका वैक्सीपोटिंग, एंड नेक्स्ट उसका एडेप्टेशन था विविपेरस मोड ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन. ये सब मैंग्रोव में है, बाकी के प्लांट में नहीं है. दैट्स व्हाई मैंग्रोव्स आर सर्वाइविंग इन वेरी हार्श क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशन. अभी किसी बहुत अगर कोई इंटेलिजेंट है, बहुत क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला कोई स्टूडेंट है, उनके मन में आ सकता है ना कि अरे इतना सब एडेप्टेशन करके जिंदा रहने में फायदा क्या है. अरे आप तो अच्छी तरह बाकी नॉर्मल टेरिटरी प्लांट जैसा दूसरा आप दूसरे जगह पे आप पढ़ सकते थे, यहाँ क्यों? उसके लिए मेरे पास बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है. भिवंडी में मेन 3 कॉलेजेस हैं. B.N.N कॉलेज, अक्सा कॉलेज और मोमिन कॉलेज. ये 3 कॉलेज का एक रनिंग कंपटीशन हमने ऑर्गेनाइज किया. डॉक्टर साळस्कर है, डॉक्टर कर्णिक है और बाकी के लोग हैं, उन्होंने किया और बोले कि हम लोग 3 प्राइजेस देंगे, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड, कंसोलेशन भी नहीं. और हर एक कॉलेज के 1000 स्टूडेंट्स. कंपटीशन कितनी देखो, 3000 में 3 प्राइजेस. प्रोबेबिलिटी कितनी है सोचो. तो बाद में ये तो डॉक्टर साळस्कर ने ऑर्गेनाइज की थी. डॉक्टर कर्णिक जो अभी वक्त से बात कर रहे थे वो बोले नहीं ऐसा नहीं करेंगे, चलो 2 कॉलेज जो है उनको दूसरी जगह रहने दो, हम लोग सिर्फ B.N.N कॉलेज के लिए रनिंग का कंपटीशन करेंगे. तो कितने लोग दौड़ने वाले हैं? 1000 इंस्टेड ऑफ 3000. प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ विनिंग बढ़ गई है, 3 टाइम्स बढ़ गई. उसके बाद मैं आया वहां, मैं बोला डॉक्टर कर्णिक नो दिस इज नॉट फेयर, हम लोग साइंस के स्टूडेंट का रनिंग कंपटीशन लेंगे, आर्ट्स कॉमर्स का नहीं लेंगे. तो आर्ट्स में सबसे ज्यादा स्टूडेंट्स रहते हैं, कॉमर्स में 2 नंबर के रहते हैं और सबसे कम स्टूडेंट कंपैरेटिवली साइंस में रहते हैं. आउट ऑफ 1000 500 स्टूडेंट्स थे आर्ट्स में, वो चले गए. 300 स्टूडेंट्स थे कॉमर्स में, वो भी चले गए. बचे 200. 200 की रेसिंग में विन होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी देखो कितनी ज्यादा है. 3000, 1000, 200. मतलब जितने कंपटीशन कम होगी आपका विनिंग का रेट बढ़ गया, प्रोबेबिलिटी बढ़ गई, मतलब सर्वाइवल रेट बढ़ गया, आपको कंपटीशन कम करनी पड़ी. यही सोचा मैंग्रोव ने. बाकी के पौधे तो हजारों है स्पीसीज, मैंग्रोव की स्पीसीज महाराष्ट्र में 24 है, इंडिया में 67 है. वर्ल्ड में सिर्फ 146 या 47 है। ये सब लोग जो है ना, लोग मतलब मैंग्रोव, मेरे जो पीएचडी गाइड है डॉक्टर आकले, वो बोलते हैं लोग, इसलिए मैंने लोग वर्ड यूज किया। तो ये जो है ना वो बहुत अलग जगह पे रहते हैं, इसलिए उनको बाकी के प्लांट्स की कंपटीशन नहीं है, और इसलिए उन्होंने एडेप्टेशन डेवलप किया और ऐसी जगह अपना बसेरा बसाया जहां बाकी के प्लांट आए तो मर जाएंगे। देखो मैंग्रोव कितने महान। तो ये महान मैंग्रोव कैसे इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे इकोसिस्टम के लिए, वो देखेंगे आप। सबसे पहले दे प्रोवाइड फूड फॉर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ ऑर्गेनिजम्स। मैं यहाँ कहा भी मैन वर्ड यूज नहीं करने वाला। वाई? मैन को इंपॉर्टेंस क्यों है, मैन के लिए मैंग्रोव इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है? ऐसा नहीं, मैन इज जस्ट वन वेरी सिंपल पार्ट, सिंगल पार्ट ऑफ द ह्यूज बायोडाइवर्सिटी। फूड क्या है? फूड सबसे पहले इन द ऑन द बॉर्डर ऑफ राजस्थान एंड गुजरात, फार्मर जो है वो अपने एनिमल्स को, कैटल्स को ग्रेस करने के लिए मैंग्रोव में छोड़ देते हैं, एंड दोज एनिमल्स कंज्यूम मैंग्रोव लीव्स। There are few mangrove plants of which fruit is used for making pickles. अचार बनाते हैं, लोणचं बनवतात। एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, मैंग्रोव एप्पल, सोनर्शिया अपेटा और सोनर्शिया अल्बा। ये हो गया फूड के बारे में। उसके बाद लाइवलीहुड, अभी ह्यूमन बीइंग बीच में आया। Fishermen community prefer fishing activity in mangrove swamps because they know that different types of fishes lay their eggs as well as young ones in between the roots of mangroves for the better protection from larger predator. इसलिए instead of going into deep oceans and deep seas, they prefer go or venture inside mangrove swamps. भले उनको स्पीसीज डाइवर्सिटी कम मिलेगी, लेकिन नंबर ऑफ फिशेस ज्यादा मिलेगी, डेंसिटी फिश की ज्यादा मिलेगी। ओपन ओशन में जाएंगे, फिशेस का नंबर मिलियंस है, मैंग्रोव में जाएंगे, फिशेस का नंबर थाउजेंड्स और लैक्स है। लेकिन ओपन सियर ओशन का एरिया देखो, कंपैरेटिवली मैंग्रोव के स्वैम्प का एरिया देखो, डेंसिटी बढ़ गई, इसलिए उनका फायदा होता है। दूसरी बात, अलग अलग टाइप ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल गेटिंग एक्सट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम मैंग्रोव। उसके बाद फ्यूएल, अभी देखो, अभी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात आने वाली है। यू आर फ्रॉम साइंस बैकग्राउंड, आपको, हाँ, अगेन मैं थोड़ा पॉज दे रहा हूँ। फैकल्टी, मुझे कितना टाइम है बात करने के लिए, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी
we are very late, so
yes.
As early as if you can
नहीं, मुझे टाइम बताओ। नाउ इट इज 1:55, मुझे बताओ कितने बजे तक खत्म करना है।
5 minutes we can have
5 मिनट, ओके चलो, अच्छा वो आपने बताया। ओके, तो डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फ्यूएल एंड टैनिंग केमिकल्स यूज्ड फ्रॉम द मैंग्रोव्स। उसके बाद मेडिसिन पे मिसवाक का आपने नाम सुना रहेगा, मिसवाक टूथपेस्ट। सो मिसवाक इज द मोस्ट डोमिनेंट मैंग्रोव प्लांट, मैंग्रोव एसोसिएट प्लांट इन मैंग्रोव इकोसिस्टम। उसके बाद और क्या देते हैं वो? दे रेगुलेट एयर, वाटर एंड सॉइल क्वालिटी बाय एब्जॉर्बिंग हेवी मेटल्स लाइक कैडमियम, स्ट्रोंशियम, लेड, कोबाल्ट, आर्सेनिक एंड मैग्नीशियम। तो अपने बॉडी में एब्जॉर्ब करके रखते हैं। कार्बन सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ CO2, more 5 times more CO2 they absorb and 3 times more O2 they release as compared to other forests. So they also act known as carbon sink. Different types of organisms use mangrove forest for 3 main reasons: feeding, breeding and nesting. उसके बाद थोड़ा सा बायोडाइवर्सिटी के बारे में बात करेंगे। महाराष्ट्र में तो मैंने आपको बताया कि 24 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ मैंग्रोव एसोसिएटेड प्लांट्स है। If I'm talking about Godrej mangrove, as Dr. Karnik just rightly said, we have 24 species, 16 species of mangrove and mangrove associated plant. We have reported 210 different types of birds, 82 types of butterflies, 82 types of spiders. Then we have grey mongoose, golden jackal, wild boar, and n number of insects. and also 6 different types of venomous as well as non-venomous snakes. और अगर टोटल रेप्टाइल की बात करें तो 13 different types of reptiles भी. This whole ecosystem is conserved by the various laws. जो मैं झट से बताता हूँ, 4-5 मेन लॉज हैं. आप जितना हो सके उतना ग्रैब कीजिए, बाद में नहीं तो छोड़ दीजिए. सबसे मेन मैंग्रोव को प्रोटेक्ट करने वाला लॉ है 2011 में आया हुआ कोस्टल रेगुलेटरी जोन CRZ नोटिफिकेशन. सेकंड बहुत फेमस लॉ जो 1986 में आया, एनवायरमेंट प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट. देन एज मैंग्रोव्स आर ट्री, महाराष्ट्र में ने और एक लॉ बनाया 1972 में, महाराष्ट्र ट्री फेलिंग एक्ट, जिसके अंदर मैंग्रोव कंजर है. उसके बाद कहाँ बढ़ते हैं, पानी में बढ़ते हैं, तो पानी के रिलेटेड लॉ भी उनको एप्लीकेबल होता है. तो 1974 का वाटर प्रिवेंशन एंड कंट्रोल ऑफ पोल्यूशन एक्ट मैंग्रोव को लागू होता है. मैंग्रोव में बहुत सारी बायोडाइवर्सिटी एंड दैट बायोडाइवर्सिटी आल्सो इंक्लूड वेरियस वाइल्ड लाइफ. तो वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट जो 1972 का है, मैंग्रोव को एप्लीकेबल होता है. Now, if you compare, अभी आप घर में जाके गूगल, अभी आप घर में शायद हो भी, तो गूगल अर्थ या गूगल मैप से आप ठाणे क्रीक के ऊपर जूम इन कर सकते हैं. तो आपके राइट हैंड में न्यू मुंबई रहेगा और लेफ्ट हैंड में आपको मुंबई रहेगा. यू कैन कंपेयर द ह्यूज डिफरेंस इन द मैंग्रोव हैबिटेट. न्यू मुंबई में ड्यू टू ऑल एंथ्रोपोजेनिक एक्टिविटीज एंड बिल्डर्स लॉबी, मैंग्रोव के मड फ्लैट वेरी क्लोज टू डिसअपियर हो गए हैं. 50 मीटर ही मड फ्लैट बचे हैं, जहाँ CRZ बोलता है 500 मीटर. और अगर आप मुंबई साइड की बात करेंगे तो फॉरगेट अबाउट 500, 2.5 किलोमीटर विड्थ के मड फ्लैट अभी भी बहुत अच्छी तरह से है. लेकिन फिर भी एंक्रोचमेंट है, लैंड फिलिंग है, रिक्लेमेशन है, डंपिंग ग्राउंड है, इलीगल किलिंग ऑफ मैंग्रोव है by restriction of the water flow, वो है, कटिंग है, एफ्लुएंट वाटर है, सीवेज वाटर है. ये सब की वजह से मैंग्रोव का डिस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है. इन ईयर 1998 टू 2000, ये 2 साल में गोदरेज मैंग्रोव में 2 लाख ग्रे मैंग्रोव के सैपलिंग BMC के साथ प्लान करके कॉम्पनसेटरी प्लांटेशन का ड्राइव रखा. आज भी वो मैंग्रोव, मैं अगर आपको मेरे स्क्रीन शेयर होती तो आपको दिखाता था, गूगल से या सैटेलाइट से वो क्लियरली दिखते हैं. वी प्लांटेड इट इन फिश बोन स्ट्रक्चर, वो बहुत अच्छे सैटेलाइट से दिख रहे हैं. देन आपको और क्या बताऊं मैं, विदाउट डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फ्लोरा में क्या होता है, सबसे डोमिनेंट जो है वो ग्रे मैंग्रोव है इन मुंबई. सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट और यूनिक, नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट, यूनिक मैंग्रोव जो है वो इट इज कॉल्ड रेड मैंग्रोव. सबसे खास दिखने वाला, कम फ्रेश वाटर, कम सलाइनिटी रिक्वायरमेंट वाला जो है इट इज कॉल्ड एज रिवर मैंग्रोव. देन मैंग्रोव एप्पल के बारे में मैंने आपको बताया कि पीपल यूज फ्रूट फॉर मेकिंग पिकल्स. देन सबसे अच्छी कहानी जिसके आजू बाजू में घूमती रहती है दैट इज मिल्की मैंग्रोव. ये और सब्जी, मतलब भाजी म्हणून जो वापरतो, सब्जी के रूप में यूज करने वाला, हो जाने वाला डावला इन हिंदी, घोड़ इन मराठी एंड सेसुवियम इन साइंटिफिक लैंग्वेज, ये मैंग्रोव के और एसोसिएट प्लांट के अलग अलग स्पीसीज है. उसमें मिसवाक भी सबसे मेन है. उसके बाद आपको यूनिक बात बताता हूँ, मेरे पास सिर्फ 1 मिनट मैंने एक्स्ट्रा लिया, तो झट से 1-2 बातें. we technologically also we are much forward. We developed mangrove app, which is Asia's first app on mangrove biodiversity, which is free. That app includes 67 species of mangroves throughout India, and main thing is this app is available in 11 languages: English, Hindi, प्लस 9 कोस्टल स्टेट के लैंग्वेज, जहां जहां मैंग्रोव पाए जाते हैं, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम गुजरात डाउन तमिलनाडु अप वेस्ट बंगाल, ये सब कोस्टल स्टेट्स के लैंग्वेज उसमें दिए गए हैं. आप that app is offline app, you can download and literally you can use without internet connection. एकदम सिंपल ऐप है, आप कौन सी भी लैंग्वेज में इंस्टॉल कर सकते हो फॉर द मैंग्रोव आइडेंटिफिकेशन. उसके बाद we have dedicated mangrove website called as mangroves.godrej.com, and 2-3 years back we developed or translated that site website into Marathi language. You can again just have a look mangroves.godrej.com. और उस साइट में हमने अलग अलग डाउनलोडेबल मटेरियल भी रखे हैं, बुक्स है, पोस्टर्स है, ऐप की लिंक है, सब कुछ है. इफ यू आर यूर व्हाट कॉल्ड एज get together, gathering, science fest, whatever, you can literally download everything which is free of cost, और कहाँ भी आपको मॉनिटरी एक्सपेंडिचर नहीं आएगा. अभी मैं यहाँ मेरा सेशन खत्म कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन तो आगे है उसके, लेकिन वो फ्लोरा तो हो गया, फाउना के बारे में, लेकिन एज देयर इज नो स्क्रीन शेयरिंग वो नहीं कर सका मैं. दूसरी बात बताता हूँ कि अभी ड्यू टू लॉकडाउन कंडीशंस हम लोग ऐसे ऑनलाइन ले रहे हैं सेशंस. जैसे ही सब रेस्ट्रिक्शंस कम होते हैं, we will definitely conduct one special session, offline session, mangrove walk for your college. Again, it is free of cost. So like this, thanks a lot. If you have any further questions, you can directly write to us on mangroves.godrej.com. mangrove के आगे s लिखो, mangroves.godrej.com. तो डेफिनेटली हम लोग आपको कौन से भी बायोडाइवर्सिटी के बारे में, आपका इन्वायरमेंट के बारे में क्वेश्चन होगा, आपको हम लोग मदद करेंगे. So now I am just concluding this, and thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir, for making us aware about mangrove habitat, its significance and its conservation. An announcement for all the participants. The feedback form will be provided to you all for all the participants on their personal email ID. And I request all the participants to fill in the feedback form immediately after finishing this session within an hour, so that you can get your certificates. Okay. Now, last but not yes.
Wait. Chandana Chakraborty from Dubai want to ask few questions to Hemant Karkani.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, I'm going to that part, sir.
Okay.
Now the session is open to all for general discussion or any queries, any doubts regarding the concept. Over to you.
Chandana, please ask your query. Chandana, yeah. Your voice is not coming. Voice is not coming.
Whether she is there?
Yes, she is there. She is there. Chandana Chakraborty. Chandana, you can chat otherwise. Your voice is not coming.
Unmute yourself if yeah.
Otherwise, you can just write down in the chat box. So
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah.
We
Chandana, you
can
write in chat box.
try to answer.
Chandana ma'am, can you hear us? You can put your question on chat box. Karkhani sir can give answer on that. Something is wrong with
Yeah.
Chandana ma'am. Are you there? नाही येत वाटतं.
ते आहे ते आवाज येत नाही मॅडम. ती बोलते आवाज येत नाही.
काकुटपुरे सर.
आवाज येत नाही तिचा. आवाज येत नाहीये.
हा, नो कम्युनिकेशन.
या.
Sir, Chandana ma'am wants you to talk on fuel. She has sent a question in the chat box.
या. हेमंत सर, फुएल आणि मॅंग्रोव्ह how those mangroves are useful for food.
Question is asked by the Chandana Chakravarti, said that, sir, please speak on fuel.
Fuel. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So, yeah, that is very, very interesting thing. As compared to normal wood, mangrove wood can provide us excess amount of energy. As I told you earlier, that mangroves can absorb 5 times. Now I want to think about the calculations. Mangroves can absorb 5 times more CO2 and they release 3 times more O2. So what is remaining inside their body? It is pure carbon. So carbon content of mangrove wood is far more than normal wood. So it is in form of cellulose. So density of mangrove wood is much more than normal wood. That's why I'm giving example, a common example. यहाँ मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है. ओके ठीक है, एक मुझे टी कोस्टर मिला. तो सपोज ये डार्कर कलर का जो टी कोस्टर है वो है नॉर्मल वुड का. मुझे वो एक कुछ स्पेसिफिक अमाउंट ऑफ सपोज एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ मुझे एनर्जी लेनी है, तो मुझे ये 1.5 kg मैंग्रोव 1.5 kg के वुड को बर्न करना है, तो मुझे एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ एनर्जी मिलेगी. इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस वुड ग्रे मैंग्रोव, एक ग्रे कलर है, ग्रेइश ब्राउन कलर, तो ग्रे मैंग्रोव का अगर वुड से मुझे सेम अमाउंट ऑफ एनर्जी लेनी है, एक्स अमाउंट, तो मुझे सिर्फ 1 kg वुड ही बर्न करना पड़ेगा, ना कि 1.5 kg वुड. सो यू कैन कंपेयर नाउ 1.5 kg 1 kg दोनों से सेम एनर्जी मिल रही है एक्स कैलोरी. तो देखो कितना अच्छा वो फ्यूल के रूप में इस्तेमाल किया जाता है. देन और एक बात मैं भूल गया आपको बताने की, फिशरमैन कम्युनिटी प्रेफर मैंग्रोव वुड फॉर मेकिंग देयर बोट्स. बोट तो राउंड द क्लॉक पानी में रहेगी. तो जस्ट इमेजिन द वुड which started its life underwater and remains submerged underwater twice a day. तो उस वुड का वाटर रेजिस्टेंस कैपेसिटी कितना रहेगा, और अगर वो वुड से कोई भी आर्टिकल वी आर मेकिंग, हाउ मच वाटर रेजिस्टेंस दैट मे बी. सो बोट की लाइफ भी बढ़ती है. तो ये दो बातें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है अबाउट द मैंग्रोव. थैंक यू.
One more query there in chat box, that she's telling that Dubai salicornia is used as fuel. Salicornia. So do you know more about salicornia?
Salicornia. She said that we are making from salicornia. She might be talking on the fuel. So salicornia.
Is it mangrove species? If yes, it will give you immense amount of
it's
energy.
A biofuel, she is saying.
So it is grown in the mangrove area only. In mangrove area.
Okay, why biofuel? Because it produces huge amount of energy if we burn
from
that
mangroves
wood.
only. She say yes. She say
Very
yes.
good, very good, very good. So the same thing that I explained you. Then also mangroves, as compared to other plant as a whole, mangroves as a whole, we will not talk about the species level ka thing. We will talk about the two types of plants. One is mangrove, one is non-mangrove plants. So by default, mangrove plants have huge amount of calorific value, as you rightly mentioned. At Dubai, they are using it as as a biofuel.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And now we are moving on to the last part of our today's conference, that is vote of thanks. And for that, I call upon Dr. Shubda Khatak ma'am for offering the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, Manaros. Our most valued invited guests, all dignitary students and teacher participants. I am very humble and honored to be the one making the closing and giving vote of thanks in such distinguished and intellectual stimulating gathering. We are thankful to Naushad Ali Sarovar Samvardhini Mumbai for the collaboration with Zoology Department for International E-Conference on Wetland. Our special thanks to guest speaker WAHP Urage sir from Sri Lanka, Dr. Shailendra Pokhral from Nepal, Mr. Hemant Karkhanis from Mumbai, webinar reviewer Dr. Prasad Kani. It's our privilege to thank you to our President Mr. Vijay Jadhav and Executive President Mr. Balkrishna Kale, Padma Shri Anna Sahib Jadhav, Bharatiya Samaj Unnati Mandals, who are always encourage and support us. We are thankful to backbone of our college, our principal, Dr. Ashok T. Bhag, sir, chairperson of this conference. We are grateful to our advisory committee, Dr. Pramod Salaskar, Deputy President, Maharashtra Nature Park, Dr. Kalpana Patankar Jain, Vice Principal and Head of the Department Chemistry, Dr. Shashikant Mahalunker, Chairperson IPSC, Dr. Nisa Sheikh, In charge Principal, B.N.N. Momin College, Dr. Amod Thakkar, Associate Professor, Punde College. Thanks are due to Mr. Pramod Shevale and his team for for their technical support. I am thankful to convener of today's conference, Dr. Suvarna Rawal, Vice Principal and HOD, Zoology Department, Dr. Dilip Kagvipure, Associate Professor, Zoology Department, and all the organizing committee members. Last but not the least, we are thankful to all teacher participants and student participants. I request all of you to please stand up for national anthem. जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाये तव जय गाथा जनगण नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे भारत माता की जय भारत माता की जय वंदे मातरम Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you everybody, all
Thank
participants,
you, ma'am.
all scientists and resource persons and the teacher participants.
Exit